What's up, guys? Welcome to Wedding Film School Live. Excited to have you guys back this week. We took a week off last week so that we could recover because we've been grinding away. So how's everybody's wedding season going? If you're just joining us for the first time for Wedding Film School Live, this is the live show for the Wedding Film School YouTube channel. We do reviews, we do gear stuff, and I'm fixing my microphone as we talk. And we also do behind the scenes videos. We got another behind the scenes video, guys, dropping very soon. But I just wanted to say, so for those of you that come every week, man, we're super grateful to have you guys on here. It means a lot to the show. So let me know how everything sounds, how everything looks. Is it good? Can you hear me well? Anyway, we got a special treat tonight. I'm going to be debuting a kind of a new video, like a new video that we just did. And I'm excited about this one because it's kind of interesting because it's definitely different than anything we've done. It's definitely is unique for us. And it's one of those things where every once in a while in wedding filmmaking, you get a challenge that I think you get the challenge, and as you're working on the challenge, you realize, like, I actually might be able to make something really special out of this. And so we did that with, I think, this wedding. We were able to take a wedding that actually was really challenging and I think turn it into something pretty interesting. So we're going to be showing you guys that film. We're also going to be doing film critiques of 3 films submitted by you guys. So that's also exciting. So I'm just going to, I think I figured out something that's wrong with my system. So I'm going to pull this up and maybe, if I'm having connectivity issues and it's a little messed up, I think I know why. So give me 1 second and I will fix that. But in the meantime, how is the wedding season going for everybody? I'd love to hear in the comments if you're watching this and you're like are you feeling the heat like we're feeling the heat? Jared is going to be joining us tonight, by the way, for the Wedding Film School show. So we super excited about that too. So let's see. I might have some stuff uploading to the NAS, so I'm going to turn these jobs off. It looks like we do. And it is off. So I should have better connectivity, guys, now. So let me know if this improves the stream connection. So anyway. Iman, I'm not sure that we're going to be doing yours this week, but we will be getting to yours. So I promise. So I want to show you guys a film we just did. So this is one of those weddings where I literally was like, geez, how is this going to turn out? And it ended up actually being kind of awesome, and I'm pretty proud of it. And so this is a film. The couple's name is Lily and Pony. And when we went to the wedding, there was no getting ready footage. They were like, no, we don't want you to shoot us getting ready. We're not ready. And then the other thing about this wedding is same-sex wedding. And so they had, they're kind of like, there's a lot of subverting of expectations and trends to the point where, like, they literally had, they actually had a falcon was their ring bearer. So you're going to see that. There's a falcon ring bearer in this film. So we just did a teaser for this film, and I wanted to show you guys the film and hear what your thoughts are of this film. So here we go. This is Pony and Lily.
You are a sail. You are the wind. You are the entire ocean and the shores on the horizon. Islands rise like mirages, but they are real, and I realize they are only the beginning. You are infinite.
If looks could kill, if looks could kill, if looks could kill, it'd be all such a if looks could kill.
In the end, you emerge, clad in the light of a pole star piercing the darkness of time. You become an image of what is remembered forever.
If looks could kill. It looks good, it looks good. If looks could kill.
So that's our film. I'm going to put you on, Jared. Jared, are you here?
I'm here. I finally scrounged up a pair of headphones. They were at the bottom of my bag. I got them on a Delta flight probably 4 years ago.
So they served a purpose.
Here we are.
So
yes.
What do you think about that weird film I shot?
Well, I remember when I asked you, I was like, so how'd that film go? And you were like, well, the Ring Bearer Falcon did not go well. And I was like, oh boy. I was like, what else? He was like, well, it's either the best film I've ever done or the worst film I've ever done. And I was like, okay. I have no idea what to even make of that.
But you get why I
thought it
said
was
that.
awesome. Yeah, but I mean, I think you should have had a little bit more confidence in yourself, man. Because I when I saw that film, I was like, that's sweet. It's like a freaking Lord music video. It's sweet.
So
And,
they were cool because they know how to pose.
Yeah.
Like, so
and they wanted to.
They
were
wanted
like,
to. They were down with
This
it.
is what we wanted it to be about.
And then they were cool with me. So I did a lot of free lensing in that film.
Yeah.
A lot of extreme lighting scenarios. And then they're doing like there's stuff you couldn't even notice. Like they lit a fire with a blowtorch. It's like you know what's funny? The shots right here. Where is it? I'm gonna find it. This sequence right here.
Yeah.
I was like,
Sick.
so that's her. She's a tattoo artist, and she did all her. She has like a ton of followers on Instagram. She's like she's booked till 2023, Jared.
I believe it.
She's like
really good.
Yeah, she has like a 500,000 followers on Instagram, but she's a tattoo artist. So I wanted to feature her work in the film. And so I remember shooting it and I was like on camera. I'm like, I did one shot where I like panned it and I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. And on camera, I said, Kyle, go like this. Da, 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 da. I was like, I'm telling our editor stuff. I don't know if you guys ever do that, but sometimes I'm like, I want you to edit it like this. This is why I'm shooting it like this. And he did exactly what I was wanting. And it was just as cool as I was hoping it would be. Yep. So anyway, my point is only, when you get something that's non-traditional and a little bit weird, just go with it.
Yeah.
Just go with it. Like, I didn't get a lot of, this is like one of the biggest things I hear from young wedding filmmakers is they're like, I did a wedding and this didn't work out the way I was expecting. What should I do? And it's like, we literally at this wedding, Jared, sat on our butts for 3 hours. Like it just was like a type of what it was like. That's why I didn't know if it was going to be good. Cause I was like, I don't know what I'm shooting. They were like, I don't want this. I don't want that. They had some particulars. They know what's cool. They have a particular aesthetic and I didn't want to let them down. And if you get a wedding like this, where you don't know what to do on the fly, I was like, I'm going to shoot this really weird. Cause that's how I'm going to make this a cool film. And I'm going to totally subvert what I do and shoot in a different way and really lean into and give it a different, just something different on the fly. Obviously it takes experience to get to that place, guys. But I will say, like, don't be afraid to pivot.
Yeah, I would say like once you've been doing this for a while, you kind of get a feeling for what you can get away with and what you can ask for. Like my wedding, I'm shooting a wedding tomorrow and one on Saturday. My weddings these days, they just want me to show up and do my job. They are not looking to pull out any creativity out of me. They just would be happy if I just shot the most generic wedding films you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, which is there's a comfort to that.
And by the way, this couple, I talked to them. Richie and I were on our way up to Maine when I talked to them. A weird Wednesday wedding, middle of June when they booked us. This couple. So they just spent
Highest package.
$6,000, highest package, last minute wedding, last minute booking, and I was like, well, Jay's available. Jay, are you interested in doing this one wedding? And you're like, yeah, let's go, let's do it. And I think when you heard like who these people were, what they were about, I told you about the Falcon. You're like, I have ideas. And so can you talk a little bit about like what some of the things are that some of the conversations that you had with them kind of leading into this last minute wedding that you shot?
So I did talk to them. What was funny is like they were kind of like, I could tell they didn't want me to do gritty handheld. Like, which maybe they are actually going to be. I did end up doing a lot of it, and I think they're actually going to be fine with it. But they didn't want it to be unpolished. They wanted it to be slick. Like I could tell they want it to have style.
Yeah.
They don't want it to be like, oh, we shot it like Justin Bieber's wedding, all handheld, and like this thing that people think is creative, but it's really not. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's just a thing that a lot of people are doing. They wanted it to have like there's a fashion element to who these people are. They live in Brooklyn, like high fashion people. They made their own outfits.
Doesn't she have like a huge Instagram cult following her?
Oh
too?
yeah,
it's like
they're both
thousands of people.
They're freaking.
So they're they have an expectation of like what they want to show off to their people too.
And she did all her tattoo work, too. All her wives' tattoo work.
Yeah.
So I knew there was a lot of things about this that were important. And then the other thing is, if someone sends you a website, like a couple goes, "This is our couple's website," freaking look at it. Because like I went to the website and I was looking at all their portraits and I'm like, oh, like no smiling in any of their photos. Same posing that they did naturally for me. But then I asked them, okay, is there a cute side? So I started asking, how do you guys want to connect? How do you want to be portrayed? And it was important that I could also tell that it was important that we didn't make them come across as weird. They wanted to come across as like, we're just people getting married. So like not just pure hipster. Even though there's that hipster fashion element, there's also like their first dance was to It Last.
That's so funny.
Like
we should do this really ironic dance.
Yeah, well, no, it just it happened. They didn't plan a first dance.
Yeah.
They just walked out and At Last was playing and that was their first dance. They started dancing. That's when they walked on the dance floor and then they go, oh, we did have a first dance. And so like there's a level of like classic romance, even though it's weird. And what they're doing is like they have a very non-traditional wedding with falcons and all this crazy stuff, pot growing all over the place and like just like a hippie wedding, And so, I kind of leaned into that and I thought through like, how would someone like this want to be portrayed? And that's how I always think like, how does someone want to be portrayed? I know it seems like a weird thing, but I'm always thinking, how do you want to be seen in your film? Like to me, that's really the way I think about it.
What? So practically though, didn't you ask for some specific time, day of, like you were like, hey, this is what I need to have?
No, actually what happened was they had a photographer who, this has happened to me on 3 different weddings. I'm working with
I always send these guys to you.
Slice of life photographer or a fine art photographer who doesn't do, and like I'm making fun. I shouldn't be making fun because they might be amazing artists, they might be great, but they're not event photographers. And so like they don't have a sense of like what the schedule of an event is or what they want to get out of an event.
Yeah.
Or any of that stuff.
I think we should have sections tonight in between each break between films. We should bring up the weird photographers that I've sent you. Because you work with the strangest photographers.
Oh wait,
like
I'm gonna tell the story about last week on this show.
Yes,
I have no issue roasting this guy publicly because
okay.
I've never been treated like this by anyone in my life.
Be careful, you'll start sounding like a wedding videographer's Facebook group.
Definitely not. Like I've never seen anyone who's been treated like this at a wedding. So, like,
Yes.
this was crazy. But anyway, he wasn't an event photographer, so he didn't. And he was their uncle, so he wouldn't let me come up for the getting ready.
Yep.
And then he did no portraits with them. So I finally just said, listen, guys, I need to do portraits with you. I need it for my video. And then they're like, we're not having any speeches, but they ended up having 4 speeches. Like, the whole thing is like, you just have to know. I was like, I know what's going to happen with this wedding. He's not going to do portraits. They're going to have a million speeches. All these things are going to, and so I had to get them that portrait session. I'm like, we're just going to take a loop. And so we just did a 10-minute loop. I did all those portraits in 10 minutes. And I said,
And
gimbal
that's
stuff.
where you
wide
did
stuff.
all that weird light stuff, right?
No, I did that during their dance. And I was,
okay. Cool.
and this is the other thing. They told me, they're like, oh, don't set up a light. I'm like, trust me, guys, it'll be cool. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, that does look cool. And then I'm just showing everyone, and like, you know, I was the only paid person there besides the caterer.
Yeah.
So knowing that, I know I'm the only one who knows what's going on.
Yes.
So, like, it is what it is.
So funny.
So our first film tonight is Leah and Joel highlight film. And this is by, let me see who this film is by, because Benjamin Kelly. This is by Benjamin Kelly.
Is Benjamin a member?
I thought he was, but let me go see. No, he's not. Become a member, man. So,
Yeah, he's always up in here. Is he here tonight? I haven't seen him.
So this one says, the main difficulty I had was...
There he is, yeah.
They did not organize this the way I asked them to, so...
Sorry, guys. With things being so crazy, I mean, Jason and I literally, like, hop on here last minute every single week at this point. Like,
yeah, so this is what he said. This is the first wedding that he tried to shoot C-Log with. So I'm definitely interested in how the color came out. He said I tried to be more relaxed on the day because of that, and because of getting ready area was so small, I wasn't able to get a lot of detail shots. I'm curious what that means, which is okay because the couple wanted to focus more on them. The DJ's line gave me static during the ceremony, but I had the bride and groom mics, so that saved me, kind of. I really struggled with the edit and actually scrapped the edit entirely and restarted. I'm happy with the colors and contrast, but the overall flow I'm not happy with. So we'll try to help with that. I feel like there was a heavy amount of speech and not enough breathing room and not enough shots to show what is being said. I want to learn to build better story instead of making every film the same. I feel like I need better framing, more detailed shots, not just of rings, dress, blah, 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 but of interactions and of surroundings of both drive the edit help more than existential things are said. Finally, the audio still has a lot of room to improve. Enjoy. We will enjoy. We will enjoy. So this is Benjamin Kelly Productions. I'm going to post a link. So definitely I always encourage you guys, when people post work, I really think it's great to go support them because it's good to support each other. We're actually a really small community. I have a lot of stories today. So after each film, I'll tell a story. How about that? So here's
that's
this.
That's what people really tune in for.
That's what you're tuning in for, Jason's story time. So here's a film by Benjamin Kelly. Here we go. Why is this not playing properly?
You leave me with sacrificial.
Looks like this. Wow, it's like they didn't even like check their work. It's like, who does that, right, Jared?
Who does that?
Yeah, no one does that, right? Okay, I'm just gonna play it off of the computer, so it should be fine. So we'll be fine.
Okay.
But if there's a little stuttering, guys, I apologize. Having to go to my backup plan. So here we go. Move, move, move. This is like how raw this is, guys. This is. Don't talk too much, Jared.
Thank you so much for this day. Been waiting for so long. Thank you for putting this beautiful woman
No
in my
audio,
life.
Jay.
And
All right, I will.
just blessing me with.
No audio? What do I do? What do I do? Why is there no audio?
At least I'm not hearing it. Maybe everyone else is.
Everyone else should be hearing it. Can you guys hear that audio? Thumbs up, thumbs down if you can hear it. I had to quickly pivot, so. Can you guys hear the audio?
There's audio. Okay. Thanks, Sean.
Yeah, it's coming through. You're going to have to listen to it on the browser, Jared.
All right.
All right. Back to the film. Sorry about the delay, guys.
Dear Leah, I am so excited this day is finally here. It is so surreal and humbling that I get to marry you. You have made me into a better person in so many ways since we have been together and have loved me unconditionally.
I really like that light right there.
Me too.
I actually think
Nice.
if that's your first wedding editing log, I'd love to hear your process to getting it to that point of saturation and contrast. Is it a conversion lot? Did you just kind of add it saturation and contrast in post? The reason I say that is a lot of people go way over the top and they push it into like a clownish level of saturation. But this looks really nice.
Skin tones are great. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks great. Even like you see
Especially
the lips with the heavy makeup area, and it's not
Yep.
weird looking.
With these high key situations, especially. Really nice. Good exposure. Good skin tones.
Ring is weirdly turned, but that's probably not your fault.
That always happens.
Turn your ring, idiot! Don't do that. Bad tip.
You continually point me back to God, and I am so grateful that I found someone who loves God and is a perfect match for me. I can't wait to see how.
Cool shot.
Yeah, this is where you're starting to see some of the inexperience, though, with the log. In the neon, like the neonness of the greens and things like that.
Yep.
I'm wondering if you did a different treatment for each shot, or if you just did a correction across the board.
Beautiful you look walking down the aisle. You've truly stolen my heart, and I want nothing more than to have you by my side for the rest of my life.
Today is the day I get to become your wife, and saying that out loud fills me with overwhelming joy. You are everything I dreamed my husband would be, and so much more. You are patient, gentle, adventurous, forgiving, and kind. You lead me with sacrificial love.
How do you feel about that prompt right there, Jared?
The one of this one right here that we're looking at.
Where they were looking away and then looking at each other. I feel like it's too big of a, not to get like too nitpicky, but I feel like it's a little bit of a pretty unnatural looking movement.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway. Maybe
I like
scra-
this shot though. The one of them looking at each other, I think is nice. That's an actual natural
Well, I
reaction.
like that. I just don't like that they started looking the total other direction.
Yeah.
It's like the way the move went. I was like, I think it might have been better if they were looking at the camera and then looked at each other, or kind of looked off into oblivion. But like this big swing. Anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
Of Christ's love for me on this earth, it has been because of you. I can't put into words
Great
how
pose.
excited I am for a lifetime
This
by
is a
your
great
side.
pose.
I am humbled that you chose me. You will forever have my heart.
Audio that he
Nice.
chose to include for this little sequence too. It's so intimate, and it really drives. Look at that dude. That guy loves that chick.
Yeah,
Awesome.
definitely.
Really good job pulling that out. And that pose is a great pose. If that's like, I want to like, if that's one that you just kind of pulled out of your own, I'm gonna steal this pose because I think it looks so good with those two. I mean, maybe how they did it is probably
Yeah, I think it's really good. And I can tell that this is kind of you giving them direction instead of the photographer because of just how close you are. Because the photographer is not using that. If you skip to a few frames ahead, there's no way the photographer is in there.
We don't talk about it
maybe over your
enough
shoulder.
as wedding filmmakers, but like elite posing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like that is such a big deal. It's such a big deal, and I think you nailed it.
Words how excited I am.
A lot of times, I think wedding filmmakers, we just kind of take what we can get.
Yep.
When it's like, we kind of document, right? We're documenting, and maybe we get a couple shots if the couple lets us, or if the photographer lets us, or whatever. But so our level of posing really doesn't get the same practice as a photographer, and
but you can learn from the photographer too. That's the cool thing.
You can, definitely.
If you're lucky enough to work with really good photographers, try to pay attention to how they pose and move people. And then maybe try to think, how could I do this in video? Okay, if they were moving, especially if you find someone who gets a lot of motion out of their subjects, try to steal those poses, try to steal those prompts. It will help you get people in a natural setting. This is a tough lighting scenario here, Jared.
Yeah, it is, but I think it's pulled off pretty well.
As good as you can do it, I think it is.
As good as you can do it. It's nice that you had that tree right in the middle that isn't, completely blown out. But I think that's a good exposure. Especially when people first start out, like this is a really tough exposure. They don't know to expose for people in the foreground or to expose for the background and just fully silhouette people. But I think you have a good mix right there, and that's probably exactly what I would do.
Accepting that you can't make it perfect is the first step.
Yep, exactly.
I had perfect and complete confidence that he would take care of Leah and that he would guard Leah's heart.
My favorite thing about Leah is her adventurous spirit and her willingness to always care and make you feel special.
Joel is the most dependable person I have ever met. He is so consistent and reliable.
God, I just pray that you'd be with us today. Just guide us and make this the best day ever, like I know it'll be, God.
Joel's a guy that you could look far and wide and wouldn't be able to find anyone who would say a bad word about him.
Thank you for being so good to us and just watching over us.
And believe me, I know because I tried. But the guys I hired couldn't come up with anything, so here we are.
Joel's my best friend, and I just can't wait to be with him every day, experience everything with him.
I pray that you bless our marriage and just be with us and help us to love each other to the best of our ability.
She loves unconditionally, doesn't hold anything back, and I really love that about her.
I have never had to doubt for a second that he has my back and loves me.
I can't express the amount of love I have for you, but I know one thing for sure. I will always love you no matter what. My soon-to-be wife, I cannot wait for our lifetime together to start today. Love, Joel.
When I first met you, I had no idea the impact you'd have on my life. You've changed the trajectory of my life and have changed my heart forever. I am in awe that the Lord chose you for me and has been working in us and preparing us both for this day. You are my biggest encourager, my truest friend.
I'll go back a little, but I like the moment that you chose to bring in at the big kind of when the drums come in. I think maybe the mix is a little too loud for the music. And I just say that now so I don't forget. But go back and maybe listen to it. And, I tend to think I find what she's saying to be being drowned out. I don't know about you, Jared, but.
I agree with you. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. And
just
and that can be a simple thing as like, sometimes when you edit in like headphones, right? It's thrown off a little bit. It sounds great to you, but then, that's where having some good speakers really can come into play and actually help you balance things correctly.
Well, a lot of people don't realize that like when you mix, it's actually cumulative gain and volume. It's not like this is -4 and this is -4, and when you combine them, they'll both be -4. It's like the more you add, the more you're adding volume to the entire mix, and a lot of people just forget about that. So, That's why you'll see people at the beginning, like when they start adding more and more levels to their music, more and more sources to their mixes, they get louder and louder and more cacophonous, and they become a little hot. So I would say, yeah, it seems like that's a little bit loud.
Can we talk through that sequence, Jay? Because I think there's a lot of things going on there, and just kind of break it down a little bit. And I think this has been where you're kind of talking about like becoming a storyteller, because you got a lot of elements there, which I think is great. I think I can tell you're trying to do something really cool there, where you have the bride and groom praying together, which is cool. That's a really cool moment. You also have them saying their vows to each other. You also have this, sit down kind of interview moment, where you essentially, what do they call it? Break the third plane.
Breaking the fourth wall.
Breaking the fourth wall, whatever it is. And you're talking essentially to an interviewer, and you're trying to like zip all these pieces together, right?
Yeah, I'm curious about my opinion is there's a little too much narrative. And I'm looking at how long the piece is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is this long, and you have all this narrative packed in already. So, I mean, I don't want to judge until I see the rest, because maybe there's a lot of narrative later, too. And it is narratively dense. And I will say, to his credit, I don't feel like they're like competing narratives. I feel like I think he shot for the sky in terms of like trying to include as much as he could. And I think it shows a level of skill for sure. Whether or not I enjoy it, for me, it's a little too much.
Yeah. And this is probably us being really critical and like diving in, because I think any couple, like this couple is going to love this stuff. They just are. If we're talking about, what we're probably talking about is like how to elevate to the next level of like using your sound bites to be the most punchy they can be, right? Because they say a lot of really good things in here. Like, I think the prayer is like super intimate, like, but then kind of when you're mixing it with the interview style thing, I feel like the prayer kind of loses a little bit of its like punch, because you're mixing these two mediums together.
I wonder if the introduction
that aren't playing as well together.
I wonder if that introduction kind of like get to know you stuff would have been better earlier. Yeah, potentially. Or maybe the prayer separating that a little bit. I feel like it's a lot like this is like a sandwich we're building here, where the beginning, like there's some good sound bites, but maybe you could use those pieces to like build, like, do the prayer at the very beginning, or do the interview part at the very beginning and make it kind of goofy, using essentially creating different sections.
Sections.
Would you say this is currently kind of like a Guy Fieri sandwich, where it's a lot of ingredients and they all taste good on their own, but maybe not together?
Probably that's it. Yeah, that's fair. Like, at the very beginning it's a little bit light, and then at the very middle is
you're like, I like peanut butter.
A mash of everything.
Peanut butter's
good.
Do you like fish? Yeah, I like fish. Do you want me to make you a sandwich with peanut butter and fish? It's like, I'm being a little dramatic, because it's not like it's bad. We're making it sound like it's bad.
No.
It's not bad.
No.
It's just like,
not bad at all.
I wonder if it could, I agree with you. I wonder if it could be a little more. I think what we're really saying is, if it was a little more elegant in terms of how it was told, in terms of like section 1, section 2, and given a little more place for each of them to breathe and be their own thing, I think it would actually make the film more dynamic.
Yes, exactly. I think that's what we're getting to. And Ben, I mean, I don't want to be super critical about the film, because again, I think this couple would love it. But if we're talking about how to elevate to that next level, that's probably my criticism, would be like, using the different sound bites to during different parts of the film, and kind of using them to like build up to the climax. I think, having it be a little bit more good, like the interview stuff is a little bit more laid back to me, and then the prayer stuff, that's super intimate. Like you can use that like right as like the heart of the film kind of thing. And like Jay said, maybe using the interview stuff at the very beginning, maybe separating them a little bit.
Again, though, we don't know what the rest of the film is, so let's watch that. Maybe it'll totally make sense. So we'll check it out.
Yep.
Maybe we'll. If it
I am in awe that the Lord chose you for me and has been working in us and preparing us both for this day. You are my biggest encourager, my truest friend, and when I'm with you, I am home. I promise to celebrate your accomplishments with you and to always have your back. I promise to walk through the joy and pain of life with you hand in hand. I have always loved words and the power they hold, but I truly cannot find the words to express what you mean to me.
It's every God and we just want to be honoring you throughout our whole marriage, and especially today as we vow to love each other forever in front of all our family and friends, God. I ask this in Jesus' name, amen. I love you. Leah, from this day forward, I will provide for you and take care of you. I will be a patient and understanding leader. My priority is to build our marriage firmly on the Word of God and always pray for you and with you. I will always respect you. I will always treasure you. I will always protect you. I will always love you. You are the love of my life and are a perfect match for me. I can't wait for every adventure, big or small, we will experience together. I love you so much. You look so beautiful.
Heavenly Father, we honor you and give thanks to you for the blessing of marriage. Grant a glimpse of your glory that you have meant to be revealed in a wedding ceremony. In the name of Jesus Christ we pray. Amen. You may kiss your bride.
I feel like when he gets some time with the couple, it really shines. Like when he gets like that time with them.
Here we go. All we need is an open road and a chance to see a never-ending world that's beautiful. Here we go with the sunlight on our skin. It's a brand new day. It's ours to take and we will let it in. This is where.
That was their entrance? They did a bread thing? People, man, so funny, these entrances.
Again, the entrance thing I could do without. I think it's one of those trends like 2010 to 2020 that's like hopefully going to go away. I doubt it, though. People have too much fun.
So, like, the cynical part of me knows that, like, it's really not a big deal, but...
It isn't.
But I definitely don't enjoy it.
If I was to choose, yeah, it would be gone, 2 years ago. But I it's not up to me.
It's not up to us. No, it's not. But if it was, mainly because I think it would be saving them all some embarrassment. So when they are like, "Why did you have that bread, Mom?" I don't know. I don't know what we're thinking. Okay, sorry, I'm not trying to make fun of these people. They honestly seem like the nicest people in the world, so I'm just cynical and crusty wedding filmmaker, so
the adventure begins. Here we go.
Hit that jump with the song, not with the cut.
What do I think of the song? Is that what you're asking?
No, I said I'm just saying this is my feedback. When you do a cut like that, where you do "Here it goes" and it's like goes to nothing and then comes back in, I think it's really smart to make your song match the motion of the people, not just a cut on the beat. Because Because like you did, here it goes, and like the guy said it, and then the people jump. Instead of, well, I'll just play it off one more time.
This is where the adventure begins. Here we go.
Like if that punch was, here it goes, and you was just going crazy, it would actually cover up the shakiness and would look on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So
I also think a speed ramp there would have been nice,
Yep.
to almost ramp it into it a little bit.
Here we go.
Cool
like
job.
your ending shot. So I think that we have been proven to be right with what we were saying about the way that those elements were used, Jared.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? I was turning my audio off on the.
I said, I
video.
think we're proven to be right on how those other elements were used in terms of,
Mm-hmm.
because that last sequence was very rushed. I felt like there were some fun sequences of them, like when she's like goofing around with her dress, for instance, early on. Like,
Yep.
there's a lot of fun stuff that I think could have fattened up the end
Yep.
and made it feel like less of a tacked on thing. It was like 40 seconds of dance footage, and then like probably 2 to 3 minutes of dun 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 dun, and like that song, that wedding really couldn't sustain that song.
Yeah. I was gonna say that when it first kicked off, it felt like it was a little bit of a, and also for the way that it was shot too. I mean, I think it might have been a little bit of a mismatch, but yeah, that song requires a lot of energy, a lot of faces, and you know, I think it might be a little bit mismatched, but not terrible, you know.
No, it's a very good piece. I think what we're getting into is like, how do we make it next level? How do we elevate it? And it's like, I think I would maybe look at a different song, something with a little more, or 2 songs.
Yeah.
Like something really light. These people, I would have said something intimate, light, something that highlights the gentle kind of intimacy of that prayer. To me, that would have been like a linchpin of that piece.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would have said, okay, there's also a side of these people that they're fun and silly and corny, right? So I actually don't mind that in song, because I think it's kind of corny, and I think it matches their personality. I think it could have been about a minute longer, or even 30 seconds longer. And maybe you have another song in there just as like a little, like, bring some drama.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I think that's my biggest thing with the whole thing. If you're wondering about story, when I look at it, I go, we're this close, Jared. It's so close, and it's shot really well. I think the color thing that you mentioned in terms of the color. One thing I noticed about the shooting, though, Jared, is I didn't notice a lot of establishing shots or details at all. And I know he mentioned that you didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think that was not the right call in terms of that. But
And then also, I mean, did he mention anything about there not being any best man or maid of honor toasts either?
he didn't mention anything about it, but it could have been true.
I'm curious as to why that would be, if they just weren't good, if they had hot dogs in their mouths, like what the deal is with that.
Yeah, that could have been nice.
Because that's always like a nice, you hear them talk the whole time, and then you hear the officiant talk at the middle part of the film. Hearing like friends talk, I think just allows like a little bit more of like a casual kind of feel to the reception that I think definitely adds to the film. If you had it, if you didn't, then there's nothing you could do if they just didn't do it. But yeah, I would be curious about that too.
Yeah, and I would say overall, like we've mentioned, like this is a good film, and first and foremost, you did your job.
Yeah, really great film.
They are gonna love it, and so anything we're saying. Oh, last thing I want.
Does it say how much he charged for this, by the way?
I didn't see how much he charged for it. He's in the. I mean, if you don't mind letting us know in the chat,
yeah,
I would love to know. By the way, you would have known if they jumped if you speed ramped it. So, you can create motion. That's the magic of films.
Yeah.
But I would say, if you don't mind letting us know how much they charge, I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, Ben says there were speeches, but they weren't very good. So sometimes that happens. Totally understandable.
Yeah.
And I mean, especially when you have such good content like the bride and groom, what they were saying to each other, their vows were really good. Like the prayer was really good. You had a lot of really cool assets there. I don't know. I might have played. I mean, you never know how it's going to work until you actually like give it a go. But I would even considered adding their like interviews maybe to the end even, and interlaced it with like, now we're going to be a little bit more goofy. We're going to like talk about like what we love about each other.
Maybe as like a transition,
in a more informal way. Yeah. Maybe that's like the lull in between, and then you launch into it, or just during the reception as well. There's some things that maybe I would have tried to do a little bit differently in the edit, just to change your pacing a little bit, make your peaks and valleys a little bit more in the edit. But overall, Benjamin, I think this is a really good edit, man.
Yeah,
really good. Your color's awesome. You shot really, really well. Really well. Like anyone should be proud about that film.
I would be psyched if one of my team members did it. And so you're welcome to come here and work for us this Saturday. We have someone who hurt their shoulder. So
yes. Can we talk about this first frame before we start, Jay? Because I love talking about like the first frame of a wedding film and how it makes me feel.
Yeah, sure. It makes me feel nothing.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think it feels a little bit more modern. It feels like it's in California because it's, palm trees. And honestly,
by the way,
the font feels Californian to me.
Kent Dingley Productions, which I think is a first time for the film. And he said, thanks for this
first
episode.
submission?
First ever film. He said,
wow. No, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So first ever film, normal photographer, but now venturing into video, shot solo, had difficulty getting a variety of angles because I shot solo, used an R5 and R6 ceremony bride angle with the Sony A7 III that I messed up the white balance on. So he did this one for free. So I love this. I'm super excited.
But you also have a Sony A7S III, which means that you also do production, because that's not a camera that you just pick up off the streets, bruh.
No, not A7S III. A7 III.
Oh, A7 III.
But he has an R5, so I would say that's also pretty serious.
Yeah. So you've done production. So
well, he's a photographer.
Okay. And also you have good taste in font. I like your font. So I think that you're going to
I like the font too. I like the font too. We'll see about the film. But before we get into that, I'm going to tell everyone a story.
Yes.
So here's my story. I shot a wedding a week ago with a photographer. And when I walk in, and the photographer, the first thing I noticed is the photographer, I'm like, hey, where's the dress? And this is chaos. This wedding is chaos. At a wedding party of 24 people. And it's just chaos. And so I'm like, where's the dress? I'm trying to find the dress. And I come back, and the photographer just had done it without even speaking to me. He never came into the room and said hi. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I go over there and shoot the dress, come back in. I'm like, hey, and I'm trying to be really friendly. Like, I do not have a hard time really, like, connecting with photographers. And this guy would not talk to me.
Hang on, Jay. You're burying the lead here. What was said photographer wearing this day?
Well, I am burying the lead.
You're burying the lead.
The guy this guy's wearing a full-on tuxedo. He's got to be like 70.
Yes.
And then the other photographer with him I didn't see him, but he also wore a tuxedo.
I love that. I wish I could wear a tuxedo to a wedding.
A tuxedo. And so I was like, oh man. So I'm like, who the heck is this guy? So at one point, I'm shooting the rings on a shelf, and I could tell he's mad at me, and I cannot figure out why. And it's like to the point where he starts stepping in front of my camera, shooting things to block me from shooting the rings.
Oh, I haven't heard this part of anything.
Yeah. So we've been busy. We haven't talked much. So,
I know.
So I I'm like, so weird. But that was, maybe it was an accident. So I'm like, oh, do you need a shot? Like, that's what I'm trying to say to him. And he's just like, I could tell he's mad. So later in the day, I said, hey, where do you want to shoot her getting ready? Mainly because this room was trashed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I need to clean this. So I need a place to do it. And I need to get this arranged. And because people were asking me, where do you want this? Where do you want this? So the guy looks at me in the face and he's like, no. I don't know how you think I work, but I do not work like this. I do not work like this. And I was like, I'm here to support you, man. Whatever you need, I'm going to help you do it. No, I doubt it. And I was like, no, like seriously, if you need a shot, like whatever you need. He's like, I am a photojournalist. I don't do posing music videos for the Instagram. Like, I don't do that. And he's like, finger in my face like that. And I was like, I could do documentary if you like, whatever you want. He's like, oh, like posing rings on a shelf. He's like posing rings on a shelf. Oh, I don't think so. and then he walks away, and I was like, what the heck was that? So I looked the guy up, and he's this big time photographer who is like, he's on the Canon Legends list.
Oh, shows you how serious
Canon
the
is.
Canon Legends list is. Jeez.
Well, and also like the photo they featured of him like 2 months ago was like one of those classic, like, look, we're in a field, but someone put a flash behind them.
So, like, what the heck is he even talking about?
Well, so later in the day, he tells me, he's like, do you need this light during the speech? I'm like, well, I do. And he's like, there's plenty of light in here. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no, there isn't. And I finally just like, dude, I'm not going to discuss it with you. It's none of your business. I don't. Like,
is he using a flash?
Yes. What I said,
shut the hell up. What are you talking about?
What I literally said to the guy finally was like, dude, you're using a flash.
Yeah.
If there's enough light in the room, why are you using a flash? Like, get out of here. You like.
He just hates videographers, which is fine. You know, you encounter these people every once in a while.
I never worked like with anyone like this.
Yeah.
In my entire life. And this everyone was horrified by him. He was so rude to everyone. He like was like, oh, this is your first. He said to one of the girls at the wedding party, he's like, the planners, he's like, oh, yeah, no, I've done this a few times. I don't need this. Oh, he told the planner, he's like, I'm not shooting details. I don't shoot details.
I love it.
And this is like I love this planner. She does a great job. And she did a great job.
Was it? Yeah. Okay. I know who you're working with. Yeah.
They're awesome. Anyway, that's my story. So here's a film by our good friend, Kent Dingley, his first film.
Nice.
And then I have another story later that's also funny.
Great.
Whether it's for better or for the worse.
This is their first film.
As long as we're together.
Yeah. You got a good start, my friend.
Yeah. Great. I mean, you can tell that the exposure's great. I mean, this person knows their way around a camera.
Skin
for sure.
tones, beautiful.
Skin tones, color, everything.
We'll push you on hopefully the editing.
So this is where I'll give you a lot of credit for being a first wedding film is movement. I think a lot of wedding photographers, when they get into wedding filmmaking, they struggle with the movement. Like, what do you do? Like, a lot of wedding photographers will just, do a lot of static shots and work on their composition, where these are good little movements, really subtle, not over the top. Maybe you're working with a gimbal and I think they look great. I think the movements are really nice. So
Hey guys, if you're watching this, by the way, drop a like. It means a lot to the channel. Even if you don't like it, it's still nice. So please do it for me. All right, here we go.
Make it through this.
Establishing shots.
I knew that it was true from the very first time.
Rob, you are my king among men. You are intelligent, thoughtful, handsome, goofy, hardworking, kind, and to my delight, mine. I feel so blessed to share this one life with you, this precious blip of time we are gifted amongst the timelessness of the universe. No one makes me feel more cherished, cared for, and joyful to be alive than you do. You are the perfect man for me.
I'll stay by your side. Storms are raging. I will hold you close tonight, and I won't let go until the morning light.
Rob, I
this
promise that
lighting
as
looks
your
so
wife,
good.
I will love you fully.
Yeah, I mean, I actually know this is a little tricky too.
Yeah. The ceremony stuff is a little bit tricky, for sure. But it just looks so good. You can tell like this person knows their way around a camera, for sure. Really nice looking. Like, people should be stoked about what you're working with in general. I would say, some of the movement shots, making everything, the composition a little bit more centered, and that's stuff that that's just practice, really. So as you're moving towards like the arbor or the pergola or whatever they call that thing, centering up, like that's stuff that you just get better at over time, and just centering things with your gimbal. But in general, I mean, I don't have really much to criticize over this. Even the audio sounds pretty nice, man.
That's the thing I was gonna most say is like the fact that you not just like, I think people make a bigger deal of recording audio that's not peaked out.
Yep.
It's like, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
But so yeah, you did that well. Great job. But also, it's mixed pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, and I personally think song is boring, but
yeah, I was going to bring that
also-
up too. If
But
we're
these-
going to critique something, because obviously this person knows what they're doing. And if you're here, then you're obviously looking for more critique. I would say the song is pretty sleepy.
But the
in
couple
general.
seems kind of sleepy.
Sleepy.
So that's what I was going to say is like maybe
Sure.
maybe it's a fit. Maybe they love it. It's just a little low energy. So
Yeah.
it's like if it's low energy in terms of motion, I want it to be high drama or
Yeah,
really,
sure.
really intimate. And this is kind of
Yes.
just like, it's just flat. But anyway.
Yep. And I think, when we're doing critiques like this, like people are going to be thrilled with this wedding film. And so when you get to a point where you're just like every single wedding you deliver, people love like you eventually get to a sweet spot where you're just like, I don't have to worry about people liking or not liking their film. Like, we're going to do 200 weddings this year. Every single one of them is going to love their film. It's just like, there's no question about it. But the question for us then is, how do we challenge ourselves to make it so that we're doing more of the work that we want to get and working with more of the clients that we want to work with? So then it's like, how do we sharpen our edge a little bit to get that clientele? And so I think you're probably at that point where you're just like, how do I make it a little bit more interesting to get more of the clientele that I want to work with? If that means that you're working with kind of sleepy clients, that's great. You're already there. But I think for a lot of creatives, you want to start working with people that have bigger budgets. You want to start working with, wedding planners that are just going to refer you to fly out to wherever. Maybe not. Maybe I'm making generalization, but from my experience, I think I've found a lot of people that are looking for that, higher end client. And so I think these are the things that you can do to really sharpen your edge, is just make it have a little bit more drama when you're picking a song. Because this couple, you could probably give them a little bit more drama because their vows are very serious.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's just, how do you produce energy? You produce it with drama, with tension.
Yes.
So it's like, and this song is just so easygoing. It just has, anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
Throughout all of our love's adventures and misadventures, I promise to seek your happiness, knowing that it is also my happiness. I promise to lift your spirits when they are low, as if your sorrow were mine.
So good.
And I promise to give you my full heart and to care for yours as though it were my own. I love you so much and will be so proud to call you my husband.
Michaela, today I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth to be here marrying you.
Yeah. Yeah, this needs, give me some, like, this dude, he's into it. So I think we're right in terms of just push, how do you elevate the drama a little bit?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, this song is probably a little bit too happy-go-lucky. If I was going to be critical, the kind of high-pitched guitar, it's a little. I mean, weddings are very happy, so don't get us wrong. But I think adding a little bit more of like oomph to it to make it have a little bit more dynamics would be helpful and make it a little bit more interesting to your average viewer for sure. And I was going to mention too, before we move on, this shot is a little bit warm. You know, you're probably at like 5,800 Kelvins. Your gimbal shot is like at like 5,000 or something, which is a small critique. But getting your cameras lined up, I think kind of separates experienced people from, rookies kind of thing. And that's just a little thing that I would notice. And if you're submitting to a wedding film competition, that they would dock you for. So if it helps.
It does help. We'll see if he's willing. I mean, I don't even know if he's here. But if you are here, by the way, this is amazing for your first film.
Yeah, really good.
You have
really
refined
good.
me as a man and provided me unconditional love and support. From teaching me about plants, to you becoming an A's fan, to building a home and raising a dog, our journey together has been remarkable. I promise to spend my life cherishing the love we have built, to support and encourage your countless talents and endeavors, to always be your shoulder to cry on and your friend to laugh with, to wake up every morning thrilled to see your beautiful face, and to go to sleep every night excited to do it all over again. I vow to be by your side for all the beautiful moments and unpredictable events of our lives, and to always appreciate the blessing of you being by my side. From this day until our last, I vow to cherish and love you and pledge all of my faith to you. You are a rare woman, Michaela. I feel so lucky to share this life with you and call you my wife.
I know every day is a new.
A lot of vows. A lot of vows. I don't know what.
Yeah.
So he did this for free. So he's about
wow.
to. So that's why I don't mind kind of roasting it a little. Did this for free, and so the couple doesn't expect it to be a certain length, one way or the other.
Yeah.
So I would say, since he could have made it any length he wanted, you're hitting that 4-minute point, right, in the film, and you can already feel it kind of dragging. It's like extracted all the drama it can extract from those vows. You know? Yeah. So I would say,
I agree. It's long. And also, I see this a lot in wedding films, like bride starts, groom finishes. And I love the idea of like finding smaller sound bites and almost making them talk back and forth a little bit, like bride, groom, bride, groom, bride, groom. That's a little bit more interesting because it's always mixing it up a little bit, and doesn't just let it kind of like ride. Like, hey, I'm just going to let the groom say his whole vows kind of thing. That can kind of drag on a little bit. And when you're an editor, you can really make those choices that make the viewer be a little bit more interested, and also cut down, trim them down a little bit, so that you're really just hitting the highlights. This is a highlight. And so I totally agree, Jay. I think that's a good point. I will say, I mean, some of these images look like literally stills out of like Katie Mary's, like,
yes, that's what I was gonna say.
So good.
It's, first of all, it's not my personal favorite look like
Yeah.
this soft.
I love it. It's definitely a look that I appreciate from like fine art photographers. I love it, and it seems like you're in like Napa Valley, California, like perfect for this kind of shooting style. So I think it's amazing.
No, what I was going to say is it looks very high end.
Mm-hmm.
It looks very high end. So good.
Yep.
Good there. All right. I mean, there's a lot to like about the film.
Yep.
And sometimes you may feel like giving up, but you just gotta look back and remember what we're made of.
Knowing both of you so well and being your roommate for a short period of time, I've seen how you guys have grown as a couple, how you two
That's
support
cool
each
looking.
other, challenge each other, and be the best dog parents I know.
Kind of a weird composition with that random guy.
Yeah, he's in every shot. The guy with the big glasses and the slick back hair. He's in a lot of these shots.
Yeah, I think you could have composed it with just not having him really in it. It'd be better.
Yeah.
So.
I
don't
agree.
like the person with the speech arm being slightly cut off by the edge of the frame.
Yeah. And this totally depends on, how many cameras you have. Typically in a shot like this, I like to see the bride and groom as a 2-shot, and then I like to see the speaker as a 1-shot.
Yeah, and he was shooting solo.
Okay.
So
that's helpful.
So to be fair, I get that, but I would say just composing it. Maybe you're just rushing or whatever, but you can see. But the background is awesome looking, though.
Really cool.
I
Really
love
cool.
how that looks. I wish that's not a background we get very often.
Yep.
So
And obviously this person lit that. Like, that's not natural lights on site. Like, the venue would not light it looking like that. So
honestly, they're
I think
gonna
it's
be
kinda
so
cool
good
looking.
in like 5 weddings.
Yeah, seriously. I was gonna say, I mean, the look that you're going for, this kind of fine art look, is very saleable, as Jason likes to say, saleable. And it's kind of like, if you're going for that look, if you're going for that kind of clientele, you'll make a lot of money. I would say look at people like Larev. Alex Douglas does a lot of that, although Alex is a little bit more avant-garde. Like, I would say.
And he's kind of,
general.
he usually will custom color his films per each film.
Yep. East West Productions as well is also kind of a little bit more like fine art, which you can make a lot of money if you're going for like a fine art kind of look. If you're in, Northern California with people have the money for that kind of look, I would say you're going to be really good. You're going to be really well off. Keep on working on it. I would say, if you could keep on like your detail shots, make it feel a little bit more fine art. Like, I noticed
shooting them the way you would shoot fine art photos.
Yes. Like, I noticed a shot with like cornhole. I want to include cornhole in a video like this, probably, because it doesn't feel fine art to me. It feels a little bit more fun. You want to make these people feel a little bit more like they are models out of a magazine, a little bit more editorial. And people in an editorial don't play cornhole.
And I'm noticing good table details.
Yeah, there are great table details.
And they weren't
there's kind
really
of that minty green and
featured in the film. There's like the way you would want to cover this for a planner would be to make their part of like when you're working this kind of look is making the planner look good. So.
Yep. So kind of having a cohesive look, because those shots of them in like the elm grove or whatever those trees are that look amazing, like minty green, and you have that kind of like, sun that's just like super, I don't even know how to describe it, magical. And then the details feel a little bit more blue for some reason. Having a really cohesive look and working on that look, I think is kind of the next step for you. But you got it, and you're going to be great. Like Jason said, 5 films from now, this is going to be really, really interesting. So.
To Rob and Michaela, I wish you both all the happy.
He wasn't on his camera. He was manning this camera, and then the composition moved.
Right on.
When I shoot by myself, guys, I stand by both my cameras, or at least so I can see the frame. on my B cam. Oftentimes. So if you're not sure and you can't lock down the composition, you'd rather have just a straight up close shot of the person giving the speech and stand next to your B cam. If you got to double fist it, you can do that. But just running far away from your camera and letting the composition drift, I think is not the best thing.
Yep.
So.
In the world and in your relationship, I love you both.
I've just seen the way
that guy again.
You guys work, and I think really that's what makes you guys different than a lot of.
It looks like a Far Side character.
Just how good of a team you guys make. You guys are willing to work together, sacrifice for each other, and you constantly want to give more, provide more for each other. And that's why I know you guys are going to have a long, wonderful, successful marriage.
I'll stay by your side.
I have 2 amazing families. I love everyone here. I'm very thrilled to have Michaela as my wife. And to have this event with all of you here is really a blessing. And we're so lucky to have all of you here. And I'm the luckiest man of all.
That's such a good frame. Even though I don't like the wiggle motion, I would have stabilized that in post. But the frame and the way that you handled that light, it's very artful.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you could frame that and put it on a wall. Looks amazing. Really, really cool. I wish we had light and trees like that out here in New England.
Follow the signs, follow the feeling we got tonight. Follow the light.
Oh, come on, guys. You gotta kiss better than that.
Follow the signs till we got our own kind of.
Really good color, though. I mean, this isn't just straight out of camera. Like, that's done well. So, really good work.
So
man. That's awesome.
Let's just go through the things we talked about. I think, in general, the biggest thing I'm going to tell you that you need to work on is just your connection with the music, your use of the music. Like, even when you kicked it another level to the next level, it could tell it was a little loose. It wasn't really locked in. And I just think, like, if you didn't edit this film, okay. If you edited it, I would say next time try to focus on, like, hitting some of those beats, kind of making the song connect a little more with the footage. That's, I know, very sloppy advice in terms of, like, kind of, it feels vague. That's the best way I can describe it.
Yeah, I would totally agree. And the way I would say to get better at it is to go find people who are really good at it. Henry Martins is one, just amazing. He is somebody who likes to have a good time and dance himself. So you can tell. But
even the
edit that he does. Sure. But I would say when the beat drops, you could tell, like, this is probably someone's first, edit where, like, the dancing, the upbeat stuff is where you can be a little bit more creative.
Isn't it interesting, Jared? Like, I feel like our films, we often really gravitate towards that energy side. And I find most filmmakers will do 80% boring, slow song and like 10, 20% hype.
Yeah. I was going to mention too, because I do think it's something that we gravitate towards. If you want to see kind of what we mean, you should look at some of our films. Not bragging on me because I don't edit any of our films, but Kyle, who edits our films, is very good at this. Like, look at what he does, because he really gravitates towards energy, using, speed ramps, using slow motion. and just effects to make it seem really fun and having a lot of energy. I do think our films tend to gravitate towards celebratory, really fun feeling weddings, which
and
to me, that's how a lot of weddings feel.
Musically connected.
Yep.
Like we're
Yep.
really trying to highlight the emotion of the day, not so much the words. And
Yep.
I think that's maybe like we're probably different than most people, Jared, I find. Like most people, I think I've heard so much like, oh, you got to do more narrative. You got to do more narrative. And a lot of times I'm like, what does that mean? Like, I mean, well, what they really always mean is put more words. And to me, what I'm interested in is like, okay, yeah, I mean, we can hear them say these words and that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. But I want to feel what they felt.
Yeah.
And that's what makes me connected to a wedding film is like, and I want the couple to look cool. Like I want them to watch the film and be like, that is cool looking. I look cool.
Yeah. You're making heroes in your films,
yes.
you know,
Like,
so when they showed off to their friends,
is.
they look freaking dope.
To me, what storytelling is creating an idealized concept of the couple, not just relaying what happened on the day.
Yep.
So the story is not just, look at these people. They got married. Here are their vows. The story is, look at these people. Look how they feel about each other and look how cool they are. Like they're never going to look cooler than this for their whole life, probably. And when their kids watch it, they're going to be like, Dad, you were cool. Mom, you were hot. Like,
so you had a good time. Yeah.
Yeah. You were fun. You used to have fun. Like, I think like trying to think about not just trying to jam as much words in the film as possible, but giving the film room to develop an emotion. And sometimes that's like space. Sometimes that's lots of edits, but it's usually connected to music.
Yep.
So I think that's where you got to do the work. And so the last story I'm going to tell, Jared, before our last film.
Have I heard this one? Is this a repeat? Okay.
You've heard this one. So yesterday I was walking out of my hotel. My wife and I were staying in New York City for our anniversary and her birthday. So we were like, you know, my wonderful mother-in-law decided to watch the child for one more night for us. She was like, I want to, can I just please have her for one night? We're like, yes. Can you? Yes, you can. And so I was like, let's go to the Four Seasons. Let's check it out. So we get there, and as I'm loading my car in, I drop my car off, and then I run inside, check in, and then I'm going to park my car. And I go to park, and this guy set up a Dana dolly right in front of my car. And if you don't know what a Dana dolly is, it's basically like a giant slider for real cameras. It's what you use with like a Alexa or something like that. All that junk. So I'm like, oh, dude, nice Dana dolly, because I'm trying to identify with the filmmaker. And he's like, oh yeah. And I know that Muse Storytelling, who used to be Still Motion, who pretty much invented like the modern style of narrative wedding filmmaking with the 5Ds and like they were our number one inspiration, the people we pretty much copied when we started out.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, you guys, do you know Muse? He's like, that's us. And I'm like, Patrick? and it's like, yeah, and it's Patrick Moreau, the guy who started Still Motion. Like, and he's like shooting a piece for Four Seasons, and he's shooting this piece like couples experiences, and they're shooting this. I kept running into him all day, and it was like the weirdest experience of running into like the person who, and I talked to him one time on like I got the courage to like message him and be like, hey man, you really inspired us. Really appreciate what you guys did with Still Motion. But that's as far as it had ever gone in talking to him. And it was just you just never know who you're going to run into in places.
So funny, man.
Yep,
so funny. Yeah. Cause literally we started our company because of that guy, because we were like, man, we should buy some awesome gear. Well, like I watched these videos from Still Motion and they're doing this really cool wedding work of all things.
I bet we could do that. Yeah.
I bet we could do something just like it. They're using the 7D mark, at that point, it's just the Canon 7D, the first version. And we were like, oh, we should buy some 5D Mark IIs. Like these are the cameras we should buy because that's what Still Motion is using. And 12 years later, here we are.
Yep. And so like, it was just weird because like, I wouldn't say he's my hero because like, he's not my hero, but he's someone who's like, I fully admit I owe my career to.
Yeah. Totally.
And then I ran into him and we got to talking. He's a really nice guy. He's funny. And it's just cool. Maybe we'll like be real friends now. Who knows? Out of all because we decided to stay at a random extra night at the Four Seasons. So that's my random story. You never know what's going to happen. That's what I'll say. Go places with fancy people and maybe you'll meet fancy people.
Yep.
So
not all of us can be as bougie as you, Jason, at the Four Seasons.
Dude.
By the way.
Maybe then you won't all get to meet Patrick Moreau.
That's it. That's just it.
You're welcome, Jared.
Get good credit cards. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about that platinum life.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Sean, we just are 2 weeks behind, Sean, so we'll be getting to some more films next week, but I do apologize if we can't get to your work. So the last film we're going to be reviewing is film by this is Brandon Reynolds, I think. Yes. And it's let's see what he said. This wedding was shot on an A7S III, Panasonic S1H. This is our first wedding of the years. So what does that mean for us?
Brandon, next time you're in Providence, dude, I know you're through Providence a lot. Let's get a beer, dude.
Yep. But not with me.
But not with Jason.
I won't drink your beer.
Jason won't drink. He'll just come and hang out.
I'll come and hang out. I'll eat fries. So this is our first wedding of the year. Okay, so he didn't shoot any weddings all of 2020. That sucks. White balance during the ceremony was definitely a challenge due to us being outside at sunset. I was a little disappointed about not bringing lights for the outdoors dance floor. I knew the venue had string lights outside and assumed the low light capabilities A7S III. Can we just talk about that really quick? The fact that your camera has the ability to shoot low light does not mean it looks good. It looks terrible. Like if you're cranking up that ISO a lot, they do all kinds of stuff like softening. That's how they get rid of the noise. It's not like there's actually no noise. They just use softening and all these artificial ways to eliminate the noise, and it does not look natural.
Yeah. If you say something like that, you are a wedding DJ because they'll be like, why do you need lights on the dance floor? Can't you just crank up the light on your, cameras to adjust? You're like, I could do that. It would look like hot garbage, but
yeah,
I could do that.
Like lighting provides a certain look on camera.
Yeah.
And
you're looking for a dynamic look when
you don't want a flat image that happens to be able to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you're getting. So I would say don't do that. It was a mistake, and you acknowledge the mistake, and so we will also acknowledge it when we see it and tell you it looks bad. So here is the film. We're going to watch it.
Saber cómo, ni cuándo, ni de dónde. Te amo directamente sin problemas ni orgullo. Así te amo porque no sé amar de otra manera, sino así de este modo en que no soy ni eres. Tan cerca que tu mano sobre mi pecho es mío.
Is that Spanish or Portuguese? That shows how uncultured I am.
Sounds like Portuguese.
His Portuguese is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
That guy sounds like an actor. I like that. Is this how the Panasonic looks, or is this just why does it look like this? It looks like a dirty lens, or is this just... I'm curious if this is maybe a Pro Mist or whatever. So my opinion is like I'm seeing a lot of these like images that look smeary. So anyway.
Tan cerca que se cierran tus ojos con mi sueño.
Red Kite says it's Spanish, by the way, and we just look like freaking idiots.
I don't know. It's beautiful, whatever he's doing.
It's taken us a little longer to get here than either of us could have anticipated or would have liked. But good things come to those who wait. We live in absolutely unprecedented times. Life can seem scary, unpredictable, almost insane. I couldn't have asked for a better partner, a more beautiful human, a stronger wife to get through it all. There will be celebrations and struggles, promotions and pivots, love and loss. Some of it will be incredible and momentous. Some of it will be seemingly insurmountable. We've already made it through one of the most difficult years of our lives, and I can't wait to celebrate today with you.
We're Sean. We're 18 hours out from our ceremony. It's hard to believe it's so soon. These past 6 years have been full of so many incredible moments together. Good meals, travel, shows, and more. But it's the everyday moments for me. Who snuggles with...
I'm into this composition. It's a little non-traditional, but I think it looks pretty good, Jared. Maybe a little too blue.
The composition of him talking in the window, is that what you're talking about? I'm watching it like with like a 5 seconds delay.
Oh yeah.
Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's really cool. I think it's a good idea. And especially, if you're working with like a wider kind of aspect ratio, it totally changes your composition, like 150%. So I think this is well composed.
So here's my question about the exposure, Jared.
Yeah, I wanted to hop in that too.
Would you want to lean into and just bring that down and make that darks even darker?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is especially if you are using a Pro Mist like this, where it's gonna be a little bit hazy and you're gonna probably blow out a little bit more than if you didn't have a Pro Mist on. I probably would make it a little bit darker because just like the panes of the window totally blown out, the side of his face, you're kind of getting close to that. I would probably make it a little bit darker personally and shoot for the highlights.
Well, it could be like a nice moody image too. It might be kind of cool to have like part of him really lit and part of it really dark.
I'd be curious to hear the Pro Mist that he's using. Or the filter, that he's using for these. If it's
we got to get on this Pro Mist game.
Dude,
we're like the only people apparently not using them.
I got asked this today from I shot a cannabis company today, and he was like, "Do you use Pro Mist for weddings?" I was like, "No, because if we buy Pro Mist, it's not just one Pro Mist I have to buy. I have to buy like 8."
We're actually been in talks with Polar Pro to do some reviews on the new V&D Plus Mist. So we're gonna probably.
Okay, well that'd be interesting. Maybe
we'll be trying them out. We'll talk about it on the channel somewhere. But we're by no means experts on Pro Mists.
Yeah, not yet. I think when you're as big as we are and we're doing as many weddings, we are very slow to trends because it's like if I'm gonna buy into like a trend, it's because I really love it and I'm willing to spend a lot of money on 8 different Pro Mist filters. So
yes.
It's the everyday moments for me. Who snuggles with Thomas? Breakfast for dinner when we forget to meal plan, and waking up next to you each morning. I am eternally grateful to you for holding me down these past 2 years.
I can tell the 2 different camera bodies there.
Yep.
Don't love that.
This year has been so difficult, and knowing you're in my corner has kept me going. So excited to see what
that is so different looking
as we continue to build our lives together.
Oh, that's
biggest
cool.
Cheerleader, my fiercest advocate, the person I want to share my day and chisme with every day. Can't think of anyone else I'd rather marry twice. I love you so much. Te amo.
I feel like I can barely hear him. Like when he's talking.
I can hear him. It's maybe mixed a little bit. He's a little bit low compared to the music, maybe a little bit there.
Yeah.
As life partners, we shall strive to build a home emanating love, peace, charity, and tolerance. Through each other's eyes, we see the world anew. May we be better together. All this is valid and binding. Over the last 6 years.
That right there, I just want to point this out. My opinion, you gotta tell them to turn those lights off. Kind of ruins the shot.
Yeah.
And I think like overall when he's dealing with that hard window lighting, I think he's choosing to go a little too hot. Just across the board throughout the film.
Yep.
Like I think it's just a little too hot throughout. Like look at that paper.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably a quarter here, right? I mean, back when I was using ProMIS in like 2008-ish, 2007, I mean, that's probably what I would guess it was here. It's pretty intense. Like coming off the paper, yeah, you can see on the bottom left side, like that's pretty intense. So darkening that would create a little bit more contrast, which I think would be a little bit more balanced. I mean, this is probably personal preference, but I mean, yeah, I think it's probably a little bit blown out.
I just feel like when you with ProMist, it should feel like a ness, like a little bit of softness. It shouldn't feel like it shouldn't be blooming.
Yes,
that's my opinion. He's like, I don't want to see
it just you shouldn't be overexposed in general. Like your shot should not be blown out. If you can, prevent it in any case, you should be preventing your camera from blowing out.
Look on the right. Look where his hand is covering it, where the shade is.
Yes. Yes.
You don't notice it, or where her dress is, you don't notice it. But where it's really blown out, every time it gets blown out, it looks like it's just blooming.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Anyway.
All this is valid and binding. Over the last 6 years, we've witnessed these two individuals become a strong and loving couple.
That other boy did not want to be there.
Changed, listened, and learned. The commitment that Christina and Sean are making today is not an entirely new one. Every single day, they demonstrate their commitment to one another. There's no question that this relationship is their biggest priority and the most important thing in their lives.
You can't. I would not include a shot like that where she's mid-conversation, like kind of just. It's not flattering, and it looks weird. Like, why is he leaning in? Why is she just randomly talking? Like, it just ruins the illusion. So.
In the presence of family and friends, Christina Elise Morales and Sean Bennett Gagan will join together, bound by love, for a lifetime at one another's side. They share this expression of happiness and affection and deep care and consideration for one another with everyone who has gathered here. May we all continue to encourage and support them throughout their life together. By the power vested in me by the City of New York and with the prior help of the New York County Clerk Milton Tingling, I pronounce you husband and wife.
That's a good little transition. I don't know if I like the song, but...
Mazel tov! I now present as husband and wife and partners for life, Sean Bennett Gagan and Christina Elise Morales.
Friends, family, Thomas O'Malley fans, welcome. I know it's been a long process to get here. This wedding planning process has been another test, and you guys, like Christina and Sean do, pass with flying colors.
I could not be more proud of you, Miss Christina Mejia Morales, now Gagan, in terms of how grown you have been, how independent you are. I just can't be any more proud. Sean, my man, I love you. One of the reasons that I have grown to really love you is because I have never seen our daughter laugh and enjoy life the way she has with you.
I never forget when he told me about Christina. He said, I met this Latina. He said it just like that, Latina. He told me how she was a native New Yorker from the Bronx. I thought, wow, this girl is right up Sean's alley. And then I met her. I said, wow, this girl really is perfect for Sean.
Sean, you know I don't do this. So I'm going to keep this very short and sweet. You did good. Christina, so did you. Welcome to the family.
Man, I will say that Cinnabloom ProMist looks really good with those tea lights, man. It looks
I agree.
really cool.
I really wish it was on like a lens that wasn't so wide the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. Likely. Yep.
I feel like we're just like, let's just go all the same shot over and over again. Okay, so I think there's a lot that I think I was watching the film and I'm like, I'm trying to think how to critique it because I'm not going to lie, like I didn't really enjoy the second half of that film. And and if it was one of my guys, I'd be like, "Hey, we need to rework this." And but I'm trying to think of like what the issue was. The first thing, I just don't like that song. I think that song is totally wrong for that couple.
Yeah. I would agree. As much as I love you, Brandon, that song feels like a song that you would listen to while you were playing. Do you remember that cruising song in the 90s? Like. No. You remember at Skate Palace, Jason, where the driving
USA.
Game? Cruising USA. That's a song that you would listen to in Cruising USA.
Yeah, it's just like I felt like these were like serious people who happen to be partying, right? Like when you like see them and like they're very like they're like letting loose for the first time in a long time type thing. And I felt like that song was like crazy. Like it's like way crazy. It's way over the top. And I just like I'm looking at these people and I'm like this isn't matching them. Like when I'm seeing it's just not matching. And then even the edit couldn't keep up really, like in terms of the shots, and it just wasn't like hitting. I know that's like kind of vague, and I don't want to like roast it because I do think it's not unprofessional. It's not like it was terrible. It's not like something that the couple is gonna hate at all. But I just think like trying to think like what, like I just wonder if we could have like, is it bad to say like could we put a Latin tinge to that second song? And like maybe something with a little energy, you know, but like something with like a Latin edge to it. That would be when he says, "Oh, he met a Latina girl," and like you kind of make it like a party song that has a little bit of an island or Latin tinge to it, like something that because it matches their dancing and like it would feel connected a little bit. Like I don't feel like that couple would ever listen to that song.
Yeah. I mean, this probably goes back to a conversation about music in general. Like, music is a character in your film, right? It's just as important as the shots that you get as the couple, whatever. It has to all merge and kind of work together. One of the things that when we first hired Kyle, when we first hired Caleb, was like the things that I look for is like, does this person actually like music and what kind of music do they listen to? Because I think when we do wedding films, it's like that important is like they have to have taste when it comes to like picking songs and matching songs up with the couple really well. And just being a music snob, I think sometimes just being a little bit more of a music snob, still listening to music, diving into Spotify and just like, what is cool? What is new?
I'll just pick
that's part of our jobs, right?
I'll pick a
like
random song from MusicBed and see if I would like it better. Here it is.
You can't hear it.
They can hear it. Oh, I want to shoot a Latin. I want to do a song where I could do Latin music so bad, Jared. Like it's such cool music to edit to. But anyway, like that's why when I see this film, I immediately clicks in my head because it's like, oh, I could make a really distinctive thing. Like you have this unique opportunity to include. They just gave you a layup, and instead it feels like, oh shoot, this one's fast. You know, that's kind of how it feels. And I don't want to like diminish the choice because in terms of like, that probably wasn't how you thought about it. Like, I know you really put your heart and soul into the song. So I want to, like, I know that it's not that, but I'm saying just, you know, when you're working on this, trying to pick something that matches the couple and also matches the footage you shot.
Yeah.
Because like I look at this footage and I'm like, this is not like intense footage. So that's my biggest thing about the film. I think the two cameras, I wish you were at least shooting the same color science between the two. They don't have to be exact same bodies, but like the fact that one is Sony and one is Panasonic, very noticeable. So those are the two biggest critiques I have.
Yep.
Jared?
You're looking for my critique?
Or whatever you want. Just say words so I'm not talking the whole time.
Yeah. I think the music, especially the second part, is probably main critique. Also, you know, usage of the pro mist throughout. I think, in general, I mean, I think Brandon knows how to shoot. I think just the exposure on this one is a little bit tough for me because I just see a lot of overexposed images. Maybe it's due to the you know, pro mist filter or Cine Bloom, whatever you got on there. But that's something that's irking me kind of throughout the film. No matter what, I think you know, I think you have good moments, and obviously you shot them well. You got to go to audio for these parts. I was gonna mention, you know, especially like the song for the second part, when you hear like mom talking and how kind of like lame mom is talking over this, like, you know, really upbeat kind of song. It just doesn't feel like it matches well. And you know what we're doing is we're matching and trying to merge all these things into one cohesive
You're trying to
thing
enhance this person and their family and their day. Like that's what you're trying to do, is like, how do I make this person there's a sense of two ways you can look at it. You can go either totally surreal, right?
Yeah.
Or ultra real, where you take someone's personality traits and you enhance them.
Mm-hmm.
And like but what you don't want to do is do totally different.
Yeah. And I think when you're doing a wedding film, what you're really trying to do is like add all these elements together in a way that makes the viewer not think about any of it. They're just feeling it, right? They're just feeling like, this feels good. I like it. And there's not these distracting parts that are pulling me away from thinking about the thing that the filmmaker, is trying to tell them. Like the sound bites might be really intimate, might be really great. But when you're using a song that just doesn't jive with it, you have your viewer thinking, oh, this song's kind of like weird, isn't it? And then as soon as you get them to that point, they're kind of like, you know, you're taking them out of that, you know, experience, and you're not thinking about how much, you know, this couple loves each other. You're thinking about like the music option or whatever. So, you know, it all makes a big difference. Like I said, the song is a character in your story. And is pretty important.
Well, this is why, like, I go back to the song we played, or the film we showed at the beginning. You know, that song has a lyric in it that I would never use this song for. I can't imagine another couple, Jared. If looks could kill.
Yeah.
Like, that look that she's making right there is a look that kills. Their style, their edge, their tattoos. Like, so we picked that song. I told him, I said, let's do it edgy because these people are edgy. Like, we specifically curated the song to enhance their personalities.
Yeah. And I would say, like, I know that like when you're wedding filmmaking and you're doing a certain amount of weddings per year, you know, sometimes just being like, hey, paying for something like the MusicBed or Artlist or whatever your you know, music broker of choice would be, maybe it's not worth it. I would really consider spending a lot of money on music because it is super important. even if it's just like spending $100 on a single song for your film, because it really does make that much of a difference. And just when you're
It's
using
like
a
the
little
whole
bit more
film.
generic music, yeah, it is. It's gonna make people feel something, and it's the probably the number one way that you can immediately manipulate people's emotions is through the music. So pretty basic stuff, but I would say, you know, a lot of people are using kind of cheaper music groups, and I would just challenge that notion a little bit and just say, find the best music that you can get, find the best resources. We love the MusicBed. It's what we use for 95% of our films, because I think they're the best, but there's great ones out there too. Artlist is great. There's a few. So I would say everyone should be using awesome music if you can.
Hey guys, don't
And
click
spend
on the
money.
link that I'm posting in chat. Don't click on it. Don't look at it. If you're going to Vegas, you're not invited to this. So this is just as a heads up. Anyway, Jared, thank you for coming on the stream tonight.
Yeah, dude, I'm very tired, but I wanted to do an official apology because I know I haven't been on here as much as I wish I could be, because it's just been absolutely insane, like the amount of weddings that we're doing.
We
and just
promise
our weekly work
we'll
is
do a good job with the
nuts.
channel in another 2 months.
Yeah. Once weddings die down and people don't need us as much, I mean, but
Unless you guys want to pay us a bunch of money to do this channel.
Yeah. Hey, but seriously, I mean, I know that you say not to click the link, but if you're in Vegas next week, we would love to meet up with you guys and hang out. Jason and I are getting in on, I'm getting in late Sunday night. Jason, when are you getting in? You're getting in Sunday afternoon. Is that the case?
Probably 8 or 7.
Ish. Yeah, I think I'm getting
Sunday
in at like
night.
10. But we're going to be hanging out in Vegas for WPPI and putting on this event that Jason just posted about. And it's going to be really fun. Outside of the event that we're throwing in Vegas, we're also going to be attending the wedding film. They're not critiques. It's an award.
Well,
Not an award show.
There's
What is it?
There's a contest and there's an award show.
Yeah. They're going to be doing actual wedding film critiques there, where they're actually going to be rating them and ranking them and awarding them at WPPI. So that's always a very, very interesting thing to do, to watch how judges actually judge people's weddings films. So if you can come, even for just a day or two, like
I would come on
we
this
will
day.
be there.
There's only 25 tickets for this event, by the way. It's only 25 tickets. So if you want to get them, you need to click on the thing. If you don't show up, you know, whatever. But we're going to probably be texting everybody the day of saying, are you here? But we really want you to go. We got that whole place
I really
to
want to meet
ourselves.
Philip in person. One of these days, Philip, you have to come to WPPI. Come hang out with us. Have a nice scotch with us. I know you're over there in the UK. We'll have a little drink one of these days. So Philip is like always here with us when his local time is like 3 a.m. So we appreciate Philip. A
The
little shout out
man.
to
You guys
to
are the
man.
best. We really appreciate this community. If you enjoyed the stream, go ahead and pop a like up there. We got memberships, so if you want to kind of guarantee you get a review, I would say sign up for the membership, which you just kind of, if you go below the description of the video, there's a join button. Just hit join. Memberships are cheap. Really helps our channel out. Any kind of support you can give the channel would be awesome. Like I said, we do reviews, we do BTS videos, we do a lot of other content on the channel. And of course, we have a weekly podcast. So we're trying to just get this thing figured out. We want to make sure this is adding maximum value for wedding filmmakers. We're crazy busy. We're doing our very best, but I do understand we've slowed down on the content a little, but trust us, we still got stuff in the hopper. It's just taking a little longer to get to because we got tons of wedding films. And you know what? Let's be honest. Do you really want to be listening to somebody who isn't even busy? So that's just my big feedback is like, if you're listening to people who have more time to do YouTube videos than they do to actually shoot weddings.
Well, this is what I would say is like the thing that's different about what you and I do, Jay, is like we actually support ourselves full time as, you know, full time wedding filmmakers. And We have a full team, and we're able to make a very, very, very comfortable living for ourselves doing art and partying with people for a living every single weekend. Like, I'm shooting doubles every single weekend now. And I love it. Honestly, it's a great way to make a living. And I think if you guys are curious how to do it yourself, I mean, Wedding Film School, the idea is that you can log on and check out the videos that we have up on YouTube, check out the podcast, and do it for yourself. Because honestly, it's something that I would love to share. I would love to see more wedding filmmakers make this more of a full-time job for themselves.
Well, and I'll say this, like, since you guys are here with us, and probably if you haven't made it here, whatever. When we took over the channel, you know, one of the things we talked about is like, we know what gets clicks, gear, things like that. And we want to do that stuff. But when we talked about like what is actually good for people, what will help people become successful, like me just doing a bunch more reviews on equipment, it's not what makes you successful. Like, this is not like we purposely chose a path with the channel where we're like, we're going to do things that will help. If you will stick with this stuff, if you will listen to the podcast, if you will be part of this community and talk and learning about like what it really means to be successful and make wedding films that actually can be sold and how to do the business and things like that. Like, we're like, there's not a lot of people doing this. And I know we're taking a risk with the channel because we could just post some BTSs and people would be like, yeah, it's just like Craig Adams. But we were like, and there's nothing wrong with that stuff, by the way. But I think the market's pretty saturated, and ultimately, it's not what we offer. So we're for the hardcores. We're for the people who are like, wedding filmmaking, this is what I want to do. And you can say, oh, I don't like this content on YouTube, or I want it to be like this on YouTube. And we're like, look, we don't need YouTube. We're like, for what we're trying to do something that's substantial. Where what we're trying to do is say, look, if you want to stick with this stuff, we're not just going to give you the same old sales stuff where it's like, you got to prove your value to someone, or like, that's good stuff. There's truth to it, but like, we've kind of made it in wedding filmmaking. And I'm telling you, like, what really matters is the disciplines that you hold within your business. And of course, developing taste, doing stuff like what we're talking about here, where you're just engrossing yourself in the art and networking and all that stuff. And so we chose this path. We hope some of you guys appreciate it and you like it. And you know, it's awesome if you guys can start sharing it with people. We want to build a community around people who don't just want to watch YouTube videos, that really want to become as successful as possible in wedding filmmaking. So that's my spiel. Maybe we'll make a video on our YouTube channel someday of like why we're not doing whatever you guys tell us to do. Because what we're trying to do is make what we want to make and what we think actually helps us and we think is going to help some other people. And I do believe eventually, like, for those of you that watch it, hopefully you're getting benefit out of it, and hopefully you've appreciated us kind of pushing through the history of wedding film school into what we think it could be. And we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yep. I'm really excited, guys. I love Wedding Film School. I love you guys. I mean, I appreciate you guys, you know, tuning in every single week. And I really do, like Jason mentioned, hope it's beneficial to the people listening at home and actually tuning in every single week. I love this community. I think it's a lot of fun. And, you know, thank you guys for, you know, tuning in every single week. It's fun. So,
hey, guys. If you want to become, I don't mind saying this. If you want to become more successful at wedding filmmaking, check out our podcast. If you don't like our podcast on the channel, then I don't care what you think. I'm going to keep posting them, and you could go unsubscribe or watch something else because we think this is their own. Yeah, to each their own, and this is what we think is good.
Yeah. But it's like, you know, we do a couple different shows on a weekly basis. Jason and I are doing the podcast every single week, which is more like business minded in a lot of
interviews,
cases,
things like that.
or interviews, that kind of stuff. This is really, you know, pretty raw, pretty just like, hey, we're here just hanging out, having drinks, drinking Buffalo Trace while we watch wedding films. And honestly, for me, I feel like I get better every single week because I'm constantly thinking about our wedding films when I watch other people's wedding films. So hopefully you feel the same way, that you're like, okay, I know what wedding films are in 2021. I know what other people are doing. I know what I want to do as a wedding filmmaker in 2021. So hopefully it's just reflective that not only can, you grow as a wedding filmmaker, but it is kind of a community. As Jay said, we're repeating ourselves. We'll let you guys go.
Yeah, we're tired. We've been grinding. So if you are going to be in Vegas, hit me up. If you're in the group, I posted about it in our Facebook group. So just kind of comment on the post in our Facebook group, which I think is the description. Join the Facebook group if not. But if you are, comment, say, I'll be there. I'm going to go hang out. I want you to make sure to get in the door, and we'd love to hang out with you, get lunch, whatever. So hopefully you guys have a great, great, great week and enjoy your weddings this weekend. See you guys.